It all looks tempting and mouth-watering, doesn't it?
It's all about choice, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
Right, we're approaching 10 o'clock, but could this be the end game for Spider-Man? This week it was announced that the web-slinger won't be appearing in any more films alongside his fellow Avengers.
It's after Sony, which owns the film rights, and Disney, which owns Marvel Studios, couldn't agree a deal to keep Spider in Marvel films, Spider-Man. So what's gone wrong and how has this left fans feeling? With us now is BBC Radio 1 film critic Ali Plum and two Spider-Man superfans, Zoe Kenny and Mike Capozzola. Welcome to breakfast. Ali, if I can come to you first of all, for people like me who perhaps aren't as committed to Spider-Man films, exactly what has happened? Break it down for us.
Essentially, there was a deal between both Sony and Disney Marvel about 4 or 5 years ago that allowed Spider-Man, Tom Holland, you might know him as, to be in a number of the Disney Marvel MCU movies. These include Endgame and Infinity War and also Captain America Civil War. We've also seen him in his own standalone films, Homecoming and Far From Home. But now, deals between both Sony and Marvel have broken down, which means that we won't see Tom Holland in any of these big, expansive MCU movies anytime soon.
What does that mean for Spider-Man films going forward and for Marvel?
Well, it's both a big deal and not a big deal. If you just like Spidey and you don't mind him just interacting with characters from his comic universe, then it's fine. It just carries on kind of as normal. But if you really care about the soap opera that is Tony Stark and the Hulk and Black Widow and all the rest of the Avengers gang, it's a disappointment because it means that you can no longer connect with the world at large.
OK, Ali, hold on there for a moment while we come to Mike and Zoe in the studio.
Yeah, Zoe, I mean, you're a super fan. You brought this in, you brought these things in, even your web-covered handbag.
And you look great, by the way.
And you look great.
Thank you.
How is it? I memean, there will still be Spider-Man films, so what's the problem?
It's just I can see it sort of from both sides. So Tom Holland has had such an amazing run in the MCU and built such incredible relationships with like Tony Stark, with Fury and all that kind of thing. So it's just so sad after such an incredible run it's had with the recent films like Infinity War and Endgame and things for it to come to such an abrupt end. But at the same time, I am quite excited to sort of maybe see a Venom crossover because obviously Venom owned by Sony and that would be incredible. And Tom Holland himself has said that he would be keen to do that. But it's just, yeah, so it's quite hard to see.
Yeah, he's still contracted for 2 more films, isn't he, Mike? So.
Well, this is way down the line, then.
Yeah, and I read someone saying something about, oh, poor old Tom Holland, will he be okay? Well, I guess he'll be fine, because he's still contracted for 2 more films.
I want to go out on a limb and make a bold prediction. I think they're going to sort this out. It matters too much to too many people, and they're diluting it, so there's money to be lost. It's all downside by this happening. So I think they're going to go forward. I was watching the report on Barry, and I was just thinking if we could get Spider-Man drafted from Sony to play for Barry, make a lot of money for the team, solve all the problems, even donate a little to gene replacement therapy. That's the upside we can look for.
And what's interesting, few people have taken issue with me because I asked why other people who are not Barry supporters should care about Barry, and that's because it is so much part of their community, like football clubs across the length and breadth of the country. But Zoe, without wishing to get into trouble with you, why should people care about this as long as Spider-Man is continuing?
I just think it's quite sad when you think about it, because obviously Sony and Disney are ultimately businesses and technically rivals. So obviously because Spider-Man has become the highest grossing movie for Sony, obviously Disney won a bit more of the share, and Sony won the commitment from Disney, etc. And so it's quite sad to sort of see that they are so competitive, but they forget about the fans, because obviously the fans have had such an uproar. They don't want Spider-Man leaving the MCU. And so it's quite sad to see that they're not really taking the fans into consideration, because after all, it's the fans which sort of make their revenue.
A lot of people, final point from you, Mike, a lot of people are saying that the integrity of the films has been lost as a result. Is that fair?
They have to go forward and find a way to work this out, like I said before. There was a period of time where Mick and Keith weren't talking. Oh, is this the end of the Rolling Stones? Did anyone think for a second that the Rolling Stones would cease to exist? Did anyone think, oh, that's it for the Stones? Or if they say some kid is trapped in a cave, it could take 9 weeks to rescue the kid. It's not going to take 9 weeks. They're going to get him out. They'll fix this.
Let's end on that positive note.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much indeed for talking to us.
Yeah, thanks,
about
Sally, as
Spider-Man.
well.
I'll be back tomorrow morning with breakfast with Nina Warhurst from 6.
Yes, until then, enjoy the bank holiday weekend. Bye-bye.
Enjoy the sunshine. Bye-bye.